Hey everybody, welcome back to Bobo Gaming and part 2 of my Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes 2021 A Year in Review. In this section we're going to cover the changes to game modes, the new game modes they've added, new relics and character changes with the big nerf of 2021. So let's get on with it now. So we also got the brand new game mode that people either love or hate in Conquest. We have had 11 conquests at this point. The 12th conquest should be out tonight as I'm making this video about 5 hours before Conquest starts. And yeah, 12 conquests. We started off by getting Razor Crest as our reward for Conquests 1 through 3. And honestly, Conquest 1 through 3 were quite a lot of fun. I really enjoyed them. You got to do experiment a lot with different data discs. You had all of the thermal exhaust or whatever it was, not thermal exhausts. The one that let you essentially go infinite with Grandmaster Yoda just AoEing constantly and the opponents never taking turns. Same with Darth Vader. A lot of fun. Then we got to Conquests 4 through 6, where we had Commander Ahsoka Tano as our Conquest reward. Again, this was a nice, fun, relatively easy Conquest to achieve. We had some difficult feats, but wasn't ridiculous. We still had quite a lot of nice data discs, a lot of good things we could do there. So Conquest was still fun and engaging at this point, at least I think for most people. Then for Conquests, I think I might have the numbers wrong here, but then for the third set of character conquests we had Maul as the reward. Yeah, Maul was the reward for Conquests 7 through 9. This is where Conquest really started dividing the player base. The feats were harder, they were more restrictive in what you needed in terms of a roster to be able to clear them. They became more taxing, and this is where I really started trying to produce content to help people with Conquest. Not because so much that I enjoyed Conquest, but more because I wanted the community to be able to unlock these very powerful toons, and every unit that's come from Conquest has been meta, without a doubt. They've all been meta in some game mode or another. Razor Crest, Executor, meta, every game mode. JMK with Cat, meta, every game mode. Vader, Maul, why not the best GL? Meta in every game mode. They are fantastically powerful units. But Conquest 7 through 9 became more restrictive, but it really fed into the I want to build an attack out of turn team, and you could really grind through the feats and get more quite easily. But then we had Conquest 10 through to 12. Bobo, Scion of Django. Massive Bounty Hunter grind. Massive Smuggler grind. Must have Bad Batch. Must have Rebel Fighters. Must have Remnants. Gonna struggle with some of the feats if you don't have Maul or BAM or things like this. This pushed Conquest and what was required to the next level. And hopefully it's not a sign of things to come, because I think that this Conquest is still relatively easy and you can still red box without having all of the super powerful toons and all of the required factions. You just have to work a bit differently, maybe spend a bit more crystals, but it certainly has divided the player base even further. More and more people just hate Conquest because of the grindy nature of it, and I honestly can agree with that. Personally, I don't have an issue with it, but I can see why people do, and I hope CG changes their mentality towards Conquest. But Conquest is something we're going to have to live with, and we're going to have to grind through for those super powerful units, because it is still the cheapest crystal crystal usage we can put into our accounts to get a meta tune. If someone said to me I could get 330 shards of Maul for 6k crystals, and honestly it didn't cost me anywhere near 6k crystals to get him, I'd have bit their arm off. Same for all of these other units. So you really have to think to yourself, how am I going to invest my crystals better than getting the max rewards from Conquest? 2021 also brought with it the nerfs. The great nerfs of 2021. Ignoring armor removed from Jedi Knight Luke and General Skywalker. Nerfs to the culling blade damage of Vader. Removal of the tech ability to ignore defense on Watt. And fractures no longer affecting GLs or affecting them as per a raid boss. This flat out killed the Vader raid counter 100%. And CG said they wanted less counters to GLs, and I think that's fine. Jedi Knight Luke with Jedi Knight Revan still beats SLKR. It's a bit trickier against some of the competitions, but still, it's a non-GL versus GL counter. What a lot of people didn't see coming was the gas changes, especially with how quickly he stands up, actually facilitated gas being able to beat Rey. Not like a super Rey plus Cat comp or a Rey Jedi comp, but the standard Rey resistance comps. Gas was able to deal with that. So we got another non-GL versus GL counter. So while we lost Vader, we gained gas. And I think these changes were actually for the best. We should have some more long-term health into the game by removing this ignore defense with huge crit damage characters. So that's fine. And I think we're going to be okay. I think it hasn't been as bad as a lot of us believed it was. It's still annoying, especially for the lower rosters who relied on Vader, but it hasn't been as bad as we were expecting, and I liked this change overall in hindsight. One of the better changes CG made in 2021 was the Challenge Rancor rewards. It was so annoying originally that you had to coordinate with your guild to put all of your damage in at the same time, so your guild could skip through a phase without the CRancor getting more powerful. So the first change they made in that was player side instead of fight side was a great change. Then they essentially killed merking, like to a certain degree, by flattening the rewards so that people in first all the way down to 40th got the same rewards. It meant that a guild like my own in Wolfpack, we only have 10 people merc per week, apart from on the double CRancor weeks. And it's actually been a great change. We don't get as many R8 materials, that's fine, but we get a lot less stress. And I think with all of the changes and the pressure being put on Grand Arena and Conquest, not having that extra stressful time of working out how I'm going to maximize my rewards by merking, etc., has been really good for me as a player. I don't know the impact it's had on everyone else, but for me, it's been a good change. So, thumbs up CG on this one. The next thing CG gave us was Omicrons. And I tell you, I'm divided on this. I like that Omicrons give the ability to make older characters more powerful or more relevant, or top up certain factions to bring them to a level where CG wanted them to be. But the scarcity, and I understand the scarcity is there to get whales to spend on packs, and that's fine. But the impact between being in a guild focused on TW where you're going to want Omicrons like Mara Jade, as we see here, the Omicrons on Bobo Sign of Django, who's we're all going to have in 2 weeks, hopefully, and Phasma, maybe, though she's not as good as the other two. Compared to, if we look at the prime Omicrons for Grand Arena in Zam Wessel's unique, Starkiller's unique, and Qui-Gon Jinn's leadership, you don't have enough to do both sets. So you have to decide, do I want to do TW Omicrons or do I want to do Grand Arena Omicrons? TW is going to give you R9s. Omicron's going to, Grand Arena is going to give you more crystals. It's really difficult, and I'm in a guild where we focus on TW over Grand Arena, and I find it hard because I go into some Grand Arena fights and my opponents have the same GLs, they have the same accounts or maybe slightly better accounts, and against someone with the same account or a better account than me, I still feel like I can be competitive until I see that they have Starkiller Omicron, Qui-Gon Jinn Omicron, and Zam Omicron, and I'm holding all of mine for TW. They're essentially getting an extra GL and a half equivalent. I know it's not quite that easy, but breaking it down to some sort of level, it's like having an extra GL and a half over my account. And they make those fights really tough and make those Grand Arena rounds really tough. And I don't know whether that's great for the game. It's certainly not great for me. Like, I love Territory Wars and I love Grand Arena, but I can't Omicron characters for both game modes. There's not enough of them. And yeah, this is something that's going to get easier over time, of course. But right now, it's tough. I do think that Omicrons are good for the game. I do like them. I think some of them are very powerful. I think some of them are enjoyable to play with or see the impact they have in game modes. It's just a bit tough right now until the Omicron crunch reduces itself somewhat. Speaking of Grand Arena and the death of Squad Arena. Yeah, I was very apprehensive about this. I liked my easy first in Squad Arena every day for the crystals, but I must say that I do enjoy, as much as it's frustrating when you lose, I do enjoy that Grand Arena, I have to pay more attention to it. I have to think more about it. I have to think more about my roster and how I want to split it for Grand Arena. Granted, I've taken it a bit easy for the last 10 days or so with being on holiday, which has completely decimated my rating. But I do find it fun, and even just going 2-1 every round is going to net me an increase over what my first in Squad Arena was getting me of about 4,000 crystals per 35 days. So it's a really significant boost in crystals if you're someone who can do well and is in Kyber 1. I'm not saying that 2-1 in every bracket is easy or is going to be achievable long term, but I think that's the goal, to get you a nice crystal influx if you can get there. So, and I think it's something I can do. So I quite like it. I was very apprehensive, but I like the change, so I'll pay more attention to this as it's going on and form more of opinion once I see how people solidify in certain positions, which I think is going to take 2 or 3 months before people really get those more even matchups, as there's too many people on close records right now. But I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. And the last real big changes that came in 2021 was the Territory War changes, which was a real shocker when we opened that first Territory War and saw we needed 50 teams per zone, essentially doubling the amount of teams we had to set and fight. Whew, that was tough. And it has been tough. It's so much more of a time investment in Territory Wars now. But Relic 9, super powerful. The 2 big ones you see here are Jedi Master Luke Skywalker and Admiral Piet. Jedi Master Luke Skywalker, arguably the best R9. He becomes so much tankier, but also increases the damage of his team considerably due to that relic bump and how that impacts his shared skill, or his leadership skill. Obviously, Piet also, the extra speed on Executor, makes your mirrors in Fleet Arena easier, or if other people have R9s, makes them not an RNG fest as much. And it is tougher to beat an R9 than an R8 in TW. A full R9 Executor wall with high relic ships under it can be a real banner destroyer. So these are probably the best two first to get. Then we see people are going for General Kenobi, because Executor at R9 beating those R8 Negotiator at R9 beating those Negotiators at R8, or making people attacking into them, making their life much tougher. It's a big deal. And another one, as much as people don't think that Lord Vader is the best defensive galactic legend out there, the R9 on Lord Vader is really, really powerful. It does really make a difference. And that team really does steal some banners in TW and Grand Arena. So these really are the first 4 R9s that I've been looking at. I have the 2, the one on JML and the one on Piet, and I'd be looking at GK and Lord Vader next. But these changes were a bit of a shock to everyone, and R9's super costly to get your hands on. So that's my roundup on what happened in SWGOH in 2021. Hopefully you liked the video. Maybe you agreed or disagreed with my thoughts on each aspect. Please feel free to comment in the comment section, and we can have a chat about what you maybe disagreed with, or if you just want to say, yeah, I agree with all of this, think you were spot on. That's what most people will do anyway, because I usually am. But either way, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and feel free to join my Discord server, which will be linked in the description. Hope everyone had a great Christmas. Hope everyone had a great New Year. And let's see what SWGOH brings for 2022.